Hi everybody, this is Shweta.
Chaitanya,
First of all, thank you so much for agreeing to do this.
my privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And today we're going to talk about empathy.
Yeah.
So let's now start with actually understanding what empathy is.
Okay.
So I would love to hear from you. Ki, what do you think is empathy for you?
I think like the simplest way to describe it is a quote from Ted Lasso that is quite famous. I don't think it was used in that context, but I think it applies really well here. So for me, like whenever you are in a room and something you are seeing that a person is doing is not exactly aligned with what you think the person should be doing, and at that point my response to it should be curious and not judgmental. So that line sentence for me is what empathy is. That's one thing. Putting yourself in someone else's shoes is something that is also very true. I think as a child, I was in a Catholic school, so this golden rule, right? Don't do to others what you
Don't do unto others what you don't want.
correct.
Yeah.
So that, and I have been like a very good boy growing up. So stories and all, and like a lot of my values, and that's why I'm like a big fan of movies and stories, because a lot of my values come from stories, movies, and that's why I'm a bit idealistic in life, which not always conducive, but that's how it comes. That's where it comes from. Like these stories that were told to me or I have seen them. I remember like very young when I was in school thinking that if someone is being, not bullied, like I've not seen extreme bullying, but someone being treated as an outcast, for example. I have never been a fan in school, and like I will automatically gravitate to that person towards and with empathy and like think of what they are going through. So I think that is another definition for me. Like whenever something happens, like just put yourself in their position and think.
You've said two things, right? I think the contrast of it being one where harm is being done to you, one where harm is being done to someone else.
Okay.
So harm is common.
Hmm.
It's also very interesting that to think of empathy in a situation where there is no harm
Yeah.
is kind of a um, unknown territory, let's say. Whenever I think of empathy, there is an automatic pop of something unpleasant already in the scene. So we also asked our viewers what empathy means to them,
Oh yeah. Okay.
and we got a couple of responses.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we should talk about that also. This kind of like it's very interesting. I think empathy is something that we hear day in and day out. Like, but when we come down to what it is, like the kind of like the way people describe it kind of opens like a new perspective each time. So Ramya kind of
Shout out to Ramya.
shout out Ramya. Thank you so much for being so consistent with showing support. Appreciated loads and loads. Yeah, and she described it in a way that kind of made me go, wow.
Mm-hmm.
She
Yeah.
said empathy could be the gap between perspective and reality.
Okay.
That is so interesting. Like perspective is how I look at things.
Correct.
Reality is the other person's reality, and empathy is the
Distance between
gap
them.
between that. And I thought that was so lovely. So empathy is equal to reality minus perspective. Like how cool is that?
Yeah. And I think like you traverse this distance through curiosity.
Yeah. And then Suresh, he described it as empathy is what helps you to go from being kind to being considerate.
Hmm.
This is where I'm fuzzy.
Yeah.
So it's going from being kind to considerate. So I think, like, I'm very curious to kind of understand what one is and what one is not, right?
Hmm.
So when I was thinking about it, I think being kind is something that you can call out. That's a kind act.
Okay.
But I think when you're considerate, it can go
Unnoticed.
unnoticed. And if you're doing considerate right, nobody would accept you.
Hmm. Can we also bring in like sympathize and empathize? You can be kind and be sympathetic to someone, but that is different from being considerate and empathetic to someone.
Like there is a difference between being sympathetic and empathetic, and we will delve into that. But I don't know if they.
Kindness immediately.
And it also kind of attaches a negative connotation to kindness, which I don't want to do.
Hmm. Or kindness can also be looked into as a base layer which is needed for all these things.
Something is out there in your face. That's when kindness comes. Like for example, somebody falls down, you go help them up, or you ask them, "Are you okay?"
Okay.
That is being kind.
Okay.
I think being considerate is if somebody is wearing heels, you are walking closer or kind of watching out that they don't fall.
Oh.
I think one is proactive, one is reactive. No, yeah.
Yeah, that's what. Interesting. Never thought of it that way.
Maybe, I don't know.
That's
Suresh, please, can you solve this dilemma for us and tell us what it actually means to you? So this, like, it just blows my mind. Empathy is just like what? 7-lettered word, and every time I bring it up with anybody, it's something that's not easy to answer. It always leads to more questions than answers. So it's good.
Yeah. So what is empathy to you, Shweta?
After all these discussions, now I have no idea. Yeah, I think, okay, I have a slightly more, I want to say, tangible definition.
Yeah.
Whenever you're feeling any emotion, you also feel it in your body,
True.
right? Like when you're disgusted, your face kind of goes like that, or like if you're tense, your shoulders kind of go up. So anything that you're feeling kind of reflects in your body somehow. So I think empathy for me would be when I feel it in my body. Like if you're sad and I'd be like, oh, can I do something for you? Is being kind.
Okay.
Or being sympathetic. But if I'm going into a ball, I'm not like where I'm caught. Like if I know you're sad and I'm that's empathy. I think empathy is when I can't tell if it's my pain or your pain. When I can't tell the difference between is it my pain or is it am I sad for you or am I sad for me? When I can't say it is when I think it's empathy.
I think I also feel the same way. There has been instances where I have felt pain of others, and I do, but I also believe that, like, recently that I have come to believe that you need a bit of detachment to protect yourself.
We'll get there.
Yeah, but
we'll get there. We are still defining. Let's not.
But yeah, just like if somebody
deep.
watched the podcast only till here,
Chaitanya.
then I want them to know that there needs some level of detachment.
I love that this is coming from you and not me.
Sympathy is like, oh, Papa, sorry for you.
Empathy is.
Empathy is like you
feel
it. Yeah.
Like I actually got sick. There was so many things that people around me were going through, and at this point I was very ripe to empathize. So I just I would cry every day. One day for this person, one day for that person, one day for that person, and I don't even like. I don't. My life is fine. I'm crying
Yeah.
every day, right? Um, and I actually did fall sick. I'm not saying that's the only reason, but I part of me believes ki
No, it is because I have also felt that like the years where I was not at the best of my mental health, there were health issues, and I think I'll be quoting Gabor Mate a lot, Abhi, but his book is all about that. Like, uh, it we don't realize how much, and science has it has explored. He quotes a lot of studies, but it is not common knowledge enough how much our mind affects our body.
yeah. So there's a lot of mind-body connection.
The physical manifestation, definitely.
Yeah. Like even now, as we're just talking,
Yeah.
like my body is going through it. Like as we are talking.
Yeah, and so it's not just about like your stiffness or anything. Like even in this book, right, The Myth of Normal, he talks about actual people developing more chronic diseases because they were not at their best mentally. I forget most of them, but one of them was that like companionship is important, right? And it was found out that like if you are alone in your life, you are more likely, and these are like studies done where you are more likely to develop chronic diseases compared to someone who is in a healthy companionship. So definitely, I think like science will catch up to all those things.
So we agree that empathy is something that is consuming in terms of time and mental energy and physical energy.
Mm-hmm.
All these things are something that we have limited of.
Mm-hmm.
We have limited time. We have limited emotional energy.
Mm-hmm.
We have limited physical energy.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is, when empathy is so second nature to you,
Mm-hmm.
do you struggle with any of this? And if you do or if you don't, or how do you manage in general or when it gets too much or how?
So when you are empathetic, right, what it means is that you are reading the room a lot better than other people are, right? Some can say overthinking, but yeah. So that's what it is. That you are in the room and you are reading all the people more than anybody else is doing it. What I've come to realize is that this happened to me because when I was growing up, I had adults in my life who did not communicate to me verbally or in any other direct methods of how to make them happy or keep them at a state where they are stable or like not affecting negative, not being antagonistic to me. Antagonistic is a bit too strong of a word, but something like that. So when you have a person like that in your life early, what you develop is a muscle where you are constantly thinking that, okay, what is this person now feeling about me or whatever I'm doing, because you have to keep guessing because the communication is not direct. So then you start learning how to read the room. And I feel that's where my skill set of reading a room more than someone who has not gone through it comes from. And that muscle I have exercised it so much that it started to feel effortless. It's also the origin of people pleasing. That because when you were younger, maybe at home or outside in school, you were always put into positions where for your survival, you always needed to be on high alert and understand what the other person is and keep guessing like what other person is thinking. Like I had that muscle, so obviously pros and cons, but I had that muscle so exercised that until lately, like now, I have never felt any burden of doing that. It doesn't strain me at all. But now I think when life happens, right, and uh, life keeps battering you sometimes, and then that bandwidth I feel, I don't know if it's reducing. Maybe it has reached its limit, and now I have started to think that okay, maybe take a step back. So I think that's what my limit is. Like if I am feeling strained and I'm in a mental space where I'm not positive and not feeling as good, that's where I start to hit the limit. And I think that's the healthy thing to do for the other person, and we can talk about it, but the other person and for yourself as well.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
What has changed? Like what led to this shift in perspective, or what changed? Because there is a shift.
Periods of COVID was tough. There were some past relationships, those were tough. Uh, and I think in some cases, I felt that I think it's the other person might as well say the same thing to me, but for me, it felt in some cases that I was trying to understand the person and I was giving, and but I'm not getting in something in return, which again is a big thing for me to think about, because like that is like it's a sin. Why would you like be a taker? Yeah, I think it started with that. I think like COVID was tough. I stayed alone in Bangalore for a long bit.
Yeah.
I was alone in my room. That was mentally tough. So I think like that's what, like if for example my mental health was here and I could like drag empathy to that level, my mental health came down a bit, and then I can't like push my empathy through that wall. Uh, Maybe to some extent I did for some time. Then I said like it's not healthy. Like bring it down. It's okay.
So there was a period where you had to constantly overgive, that you didn't get time to kind of readjust. Ki your resources were kind of depleted. Is when you realized, ki, oh wait, this is too much.
Yeah, that's the way. Yeah, we can put it that way. I don't know if I was like mentally at my 100 capacity. Maybe I would have still be stretching it, but I'm not. Like everybody has a
I see your struggle. That's what I'm gonna say.
saying no is important. Like when you are not able to be empathetic to someone, then you are in effect saying no to that person, right? And learning to say no is something that is important and everybody should do. For me, saying no is very tough. Like I did not have any framework to say no, so it was always an yes.
I got some texts asking, "Hey, can you? How do I say
No to this.
Give me like,
Because I didn't know when to say no. Now, my framework now is whenever you are saying yes to someone, which means a no to yourself, is the right place to say no. So, again, a framework to decide when to say no is whenever you're saying no to something or yes to something, the choice is between guilt and resentment.
guilt of not doing it and the resentment of doing it.
Correct. So both of the things, you can use either of the framework, whichever suits you, to decide like, is this the place you want to say no? So choose guilt over resentment, because I think guilt is something that you can work out. It's within you and you can work it out. But resentment is also with you and also to the other person that you have, and it doesn't help. So my problem is that I'm very solution oriented. If something happens to me, my question to myself is this gonna kill you?
Wow, such low standards.
No, then it's not bad enough,
Wow,
right?
okay.
It can be worked out. And then I move into solutions. And the problem with that is that because I'm being empathetic to someone else, I also apply that to the other person, that I try to come up with solutions for them. Right? Which is not the right way of being empathetic. So that is something I struggle with. But yeah, so what are your opinions on, like, what are the pitfalls of being empathetic that you might end up harming the person then?
When anybody is going through any situation that's challenging, I think there is phases to going through it. Right? Initially, there will be like maybe denial, a little bit of denial, and then comes the phase where you're overwhelmed. And then comes a phase where there's this acceptance, and then the overwhelm kind of goes down, and then you kind of solve it. If it was so easy to solve, do you think I wouldn't have done it already? So that's a typical response to when somebody does empathy as a solution oriented approach. When somebody kind of comes up with a solution, it kind of, that's this undertone, the reading between the line that happens for the person who is going through it is, this overwhelm feels like an overreaction. This overwhelm feels like a less of a skill. So let's say if I'm going through it and your response is kind of let me offer a solution, it's coming from your framework. So there is also still a gap. I wouldn't say you're not being empathetic, but there is a gap in the empathy that you're forgetting ki you're still bringing yourself into it. So I do think empathy requires you to remove yourself from that situation. Otherwise it's messy. I don't think there is any room for bringing you into the picture in the sense of you just kind of mirror. Yeah, I think mirror. Like literally, you're a mirror. You cannot be you can't have those non-reflecting surfaces in you when you're trying to be empathetic. Like in this situation, if you were being mirror for me and you offered a solution, it's coming from a place of your way of coming down. You empathize and you understood, okay, maybe I'm overwhelmed, but from there offering a solution is you leaking into the...
Correct. Yeah, it's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah. Oh my god. This is very overwhelming, by the way. You better watch this episode. We are literally putting ourselves through this. So for me, given my life scenarios of how life has been, I think my energized, so we spoke about 3 energy levels, right? So let's call them overwhelm and high energy, base energy. So my energy is pretty high. So that means my high energy is higher and my overwhelm is higher. When somebody is being overwhelmed for a high energy state, which falls below my energy state, is where I struggle, and it happens very often.
Okay, yeah.
It's not okay that my energy level is that high, which is why I'm often burnt out. So it's also reflecting ki, bro, you're constantly overwhelmed. I think that is normal. I think this is not normal. Like, in all honesty, I think nobody has to be so energized. So I think it kind of holds a mirror to me ki, bro, your normal energy level is higher than the overwhelm. That kind of it's like holding a mirror to you, right? It's like, Shweta, you're abusing yourself in a way, right? So I think that part makes me very uncomfortable. Now I can kind of word it better, but when it used to happen, it's just like a reaction, and then I have to go back and then see why it's kind of popping out. So so when I'm meeting them also, I have anybody for that matter, I have to meet them at their scale. And I'm saying, like, obviously it's not about you as a person, it's what you have gone through that kind of decides these energy levels for you. Let's say somebody is a very pampered person and you had a tough life. So for a pampered person, let's say there is give me a trivial problem. For example, something like, I don't have the nail color I want today. and they're making it a deal. Like, let's say they're like calling up people. They're like, "Hey, can we stop here so we can go get this?" So it's big for them, rightly so. Fine, we're not judging her, right? That's their scene. Versus, let's say you are someone who has gone through life. So when you put these people in the same room, is when most of the times the insensitivity is coming to picture. It's important to not judge the reason or not judge the situation. So it's not about the problem, but it's about where the person is.
Correct. Relative to the problem.
We also talk about this in therapy,
Mm.
which is, it's very client centric in the sense
Correct.
that we're not talking about the problem.
Mm.
We're talking about what the client is going through it because of it. So,
Correct.
Which is very true in this scenario. If I
Yeah.
was thinking about the problem, then this makes no sense. But that problem would create different reactions in different people based on their levels.
Yeah, and like that's what their life experiences have been, and you can't put your life experiences and decide the scale for them.
It's not really about what has happened, it's about what it's doing to you.
Correct. One another thing that people tend to generally do is silver lining things. That okay, ye hua hai, par it's not as bad as this. That is another thing people should avoid. It's natural that our response is like that. Even for me, the coping mechanism, as I said, right, it's not death, right?
I think time. I think you either indulge the other person or you don't. I feel like I think you can't rush empathy.
No,
For
but
me
then like
personally,
someone also needs to be aware of their boundaries, that how much they can push it. And like then do you suggest that like if you have predetermined that you'll not be able to be present for this person, then don't even start.
empathetically draw a boundary. I would say don't be empathetic for 10 minutes and then stop on the 11th. I think that drop kind of makes them, because when you are going through an overwhelm, the person is already hyper aware of the fact that they are taking other person's time, energy, all of it. So when you do that switch drastically from empathy to zero, okay, I've been empathetic for 10 minutes now. I can't. I have to go. From your point of view, it makes sense ki you have done your best and you have to draw a boundary. Like, but I think that's very, for the person who's on the receiving end, it kind of highlights that, oh, all this time this person has been struggling with this uh, dichotomy of having to be someplace else, but I have put them in a place where they have to be here for me. That it kind of ruins the 10 minutes for the even the 10 minutes of work that you've put in for the other person. Personally, I think it's my preference that I'd rather not have the 10 minutes of empathy than experience that drop of it. But again, it's subjective. I don't think I can generalize it for everyone. So there's this quote that I've read when I was younger. I think it's Benjamin Franklin. Witnessing something wrong and not doing anything about it is a bigger wrong than doing the wrong itself. So somewhere it's become very important to me, and it's part of who I am and it's my moral anchor also. I have to call it out, or I have to do my part, small, big, in whatever scale that I can, to kind of try and tilt the situation towards what's a better way. When you start empathizing, you can't choose what you're empathizing with.
Okay.
It's important to differentiate empathy from enabling.
Yes.
How do you call something out or call someone out while being empathetic still?
I think in those kind of scenarios, for me, the empathy will stop at that you recognize the fact that this person is this way because of certain reasons.
Yeah.
And that's where my empathy's limit will be. When you have that in mind, maybe you would be able to deal with that in a better way than instantly being judgmental about it, that this person is evil.
Yeah. So empathy forces you to be in that way.
Correct.
If I empathize with you, I don't want to call you out on this, and that's going to open things up for you, which you probably are not ready for today. Right? The other person should also be ready to
Yeah.
take the overwhelm that comes, because it's not easy, right? On the flip side of it, if I don't do it, I'm enabling it.
I need to pick and choose the battles
Yeah.
that I want to fight, uh, and I'm capable of winning them. There might be false judgment where like I got into a fight which I could have won but I walked away. That there's a risk of that, obviously, that maybe I should have stood up for it and I did not. You do call it out, but do you think it'll really solve it?
It's better than nothing.
I would like to calibrate my response a bit. In a place where there is a framework where it can be called out. For example, in a professional setup, generally there should be a framework that you can call out someone for doing something like that in a healthy workplace, right? Then that's one place I would be really comfortable about like doing it without thinking. You feel that you have some kind of power or command, then you should definitely do it. Like, and that is also rare. Like I have seen people who had the power to stop something from the happening like that, but they never exercise it because it's too inconvenient or it's too uncomfortable to confront it. I will always make the decision. Okay, this person is being this way because of it has something going on. But will I always take the activism paths? Maybe not.
I'm not going out looking for problems. But if the problem is in front of me, then it's difficult for me to not do much.
There can be other solutions than just, like for example, the solution need not be that you have to have that fight in that room at that moment of time.
You're saying there is more ways than one to activism.
Yeah.
So that comes down to increasing the range of activism.
For me, it's more result biased.
You also said pick your battles and pick the battles you can win.
Correct. You are allowed to do so. But maybe in a scenario where like I feel completely powerless, maybe I would not like go gung ho on it and like try to figure out other ways to get to the result instead of.
Yeah, I go punch the biggest baddest bully and then.
Yeah, I know. We all know. Because I feel like if you are being antagonistic at the moment, it will not really be at the results you really want to have. You will have the satisfaction of fighting the battles you wanted to fight, but may not necessarily results in the goals that you wanted to.
Understood. So you're more concerned about the change, which is the end result.
Yeah.
But for me, it's more important as to the action of it. Like, sometimes I think the action is even more important than the result. Maybe today it doesn't happen, but it's the action that will eventually lead to the result. I think I barely think about result a lot of times. So what you said makes sense. If it's not going to eventually lead to something, then what's the whole point? When I first heard the word cancel culture, it really kind of hit home for me because I think I do cancel people a lot. I cancel people a lot because I work in binaries. Right? This is one of the negative effects of. So we're talking about activism, this, that, and all of it, right? But the flip side of it is the cancel culture. So I kind of box people into good, bad. I'm not saying they're bad, but I genuinely believe they're bad people, which is not great. The Adolescence series that I watched, there is this one scene where the therapist goes to the kid, they sit across each other and the whole sandwich.
Yeah.
And the amount of empathy she brings into that table was really something. I think for multiple reasons, that the fact that the other person was a kid who committed the crime made it easier for me to empathize. There is a whole system built around trying and helping people who have done absolutely wrong things.
Yeah.
And I'm here sitting in my bubble of decent world and cancelling people. So it kind of helped me understand that what I'm doing is not great. That you can't box people. Like what it does is it simplifies life for me. Like I can go around living life naive. I think I am pretty naive when I approach life because I kind of have limited people that I'm close to. It makes my life comfortable. I don't have to, because being in the gray takes effort. It's more effort because you have to balance the good and the bad. If somebody is just good, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
So what it helped me do is kind of separate the behavior and the person, which I think is slightly helping me get better in this area of binary.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense that when somebody acted a certain way, I can think of it as a neurological response and not think it's this person is evil. I'm not judging the person, I'm judging the behavior. And it's helping me not alienate the person for a certain behavior, rather accept that there's this person and this person has this behavior for whatever reasons, and they can coexist with good ones also,
Mm-hmm.
and they're both from the same person. Maybe I'm little less repulsed today.
Hmm.
It's a question that keeps coming up for me. Where do love and empathy fall? Like, what is love? What is empathy? Are they the same thing? Are they different? Compare and contrast.
I think I'll put it this way. Maybe empathy is a necessary, but not a sufficient condition for love. So I think love has a lot of things in addition to empathy that needs to work out. It has a lot of other components. But empathy, if empathy is not there in the mix, I don't think it can be a successful thing. You are actually never in love with a person, but the idea of that person that you have. Okay, this is my perspective of this person, and that's why I love him. And if you never try to bridge the gap between the reality and be empathetic about that reality, right?
Maybe this was a missing piece. But the one question that again comes back to me is, what would empathy mean in a place where there is no dissonance?
Mm-hmm. Example?
That day when we went for E-Zone and you got the Pikachu. So there's this game where there's like a bunch of soft toys and then try to catch one, pull it up and then
Claw.
like,
The claw game.
Yeah. So when you did get the toy out, and we literally jumped. Now, is that empathy? I started jumping and I was excited, happy, thrilled. What the fuck? This doesn't ever happen. And you started jumping, which is unlike you.
That's not something that people generally struggle with, I think.
Yeah, if there's no. But why is it not celebrated as much?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that love?
One person taking or making the effort that, okay, you are not interested in something, but my partner is interested in something, and to be actively being part of it, because that makes the other person happy.
That makes a lot of sense, because a lot of times when people that I'm very close to, if we have like shared a precious moment, you're very attached to those. I think these are the scenarios where that empathy happen in a joyous form. I think that is love. I don't know what that is. That is empathy maxed, which kind of makes you feel good because there's resonance on a positive experience or feeling, and you want to do it more.
Mm-hmm.
So is that energizing empathy, whereas the dissonant empathy is energy drain? Fuck. So empathy can be energizing too.
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
Yeah, in the sense, like, even like, for example, in your case, the empathy which relates to dissonance is draining you. I would argue that there were a situation I was empathetic to a dissonance situation, and I felt energized from it.
Like, there is a drain, but there is also a recharge, because it makes you feel like gives you a fulfilling experience, and that's a energizing feeling. And there is also a drain of emotional energy. So there is both, and sometimes one exceeds the other. But in a non-dissonant empathy scenario, is there a drain? Is good times draining? Do you need to recover from having a good time also?
That's a bit of an advanced question. I think there are situations. It depends on the company I am in, and I don't know. I have not been able to like quantify it, but there are interactions that I had, and like which may have been fun, but I need to like charge up after that.
Yeah.
And again, there are some people in my life that I don't feel it that way. That, like, no matter how much energy was spent, so yeah, I have to like still figure it out what that is.
Yeah, I think I found one piece to the puzzle of love today, which is empathy, guys.
Yeah.
No wonder love is so draining. Okay.
I know you as someone who has been good at setting boundaries, right? And uh, for one's empathy to not become toxic and remain healthy, it's important to draw those boundaries. And since you are now coming from the different side of the spectrum, what how are you using your skills about setting boundaries, saying no? How are you reconciling both of the things?
Being honest is something that is very core to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm very attuned to, am I being honest in anything that I do, not in what I say. Like, if I'm being here, I'm here. Like, there is every part of me wants to be here, else I'm not here. Because I feel like even being in some place where I don't want to be is being dishonest. Because I'm letting the other person think I'm alright being here. So because of that, I think when I'm in a situation uh, where I don't want to empathize, but I'm empathizing despite, is I'm very, like, I recognize it very easily.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because that's a step one to
Definitely.
even recognizing he, hey, this is not a place where I can be empathetic and I need to draw a boundary. It is a prerequisite to realize that there is a need for boundary.
Mm-hmm.
Now again, there is two kinds of things. Like, do you want to is one thing, can you is another thing. When I know I don't want to be empathetic to you, saying no is very easy. That boundary is clear. The problem is when it's a friend or someone I care deeply about, and they are the one who is in need of empathy. There, I think I'm equally bad as you are.
Okay.
Can I be empathetic takes a backseat.
Okay.
And I do be empathetic. Like I don't even recognize that there is a choice to be made.
Hmm.
Again, tying it back to what you said, right? I'm saying no to me to say yes to this.
Hmm.
So I struggle with drawing a boundary when I want to give empathy with everything I've got, but I can't give that. So I think drawing a boundary there is difficult, not because I don't know how to say no, but because I don't recognize it. I don't think I have a struggle with saying no. My struggle is with recognizing the need for no.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's also what I struggle with sometimes. That you.
So you're saying if you recognize it, it's easier for you. That's interesting. Like, the time when I don't have an empathy energy for even the close people is when I'm already going through something. So that is a situation where you would want to ignore it and would want that distraction of putting yourself aside for a bit.
Putting yourself in the blur.
I don't know, I think journaling really helps. It kind of, the second you give a physical form to what you're going through, it becomes undeniable.
Mm-hmm.
Going to therapy is also
Yeah.
similar thing. The second you go to therapy, it's there, it's real, like it's not in your head anymore. So I think giving physical form to, and trying and finding ways to do that on a regular basis will help you get more in tune with what you as a person are going through, which helps you kind of build that muscle to recognize when you are overworked on the empathy muscle.
You talked about like that honesty thing, right? And like if you feel that that's not what you're feeling in the current situation, then it's like you are, it's very clear for you what to do. I am on the other side of things, and I think many people are that way. So I would say you're an exception.
Experience the effects of it.
When we are also not being honest, people that we are who are not like you, who are on the other side of things, the painful thing is that we are also very aware of it, that we are
Why?
not being honest.
What are you getting there?
Maybe conditioned, or the social norm is that it's not always the authentic you that you can put out in the society. But I think one should, like people who like me have that feeling, should acknowledge that the very fact that you are aware of it means that you are authentic, and it's your authentic self that is pointing it out to you that you are not being authentic. And every time you point it out to yourself, the authentic self becomes a little bit stronger, and eventually the gap bridges. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't think you are an imposter. Just kind of keep on figuring out what your authentic self is, and that way eventually you get there. And now, how to work on the guilt and why that guilt exists at all, right? So I was having this conversation with my therapist. So let's say someone invited you to something, and you could not go. Let's say I did not have the mental capacity that day to. Now I have chosen guilt over resentment, right? And because of that guilt, now I feel that there is an imbalance.
And you feel like you owe them something because you said no.
She asked me, like, why do you think there is an imbalance? You at that time prioritized yourself over that other person, which is a perfectly balanced thing to do. But in my head, that concept is very alien. It is balanced. There is no transaction left. If you want to meet that person, like if you meet that person again, it's a whole new thing that will happen. It's not because you said no.
And saying no without guilt makes your equation with them easier rather than if you've said yes or no with guilt.
It also answers if you can be your authentic self with that person, and
How easy or difficult it is.
how easy or difficult it is to be, how easy or difficult the other person makes it for you to be your authentic self. Like, if someone is making you feel guilty about saying no, then it's a red flag. So I think, like, me not being able to be authentic is also on other people. Just,
Wow.
just kidding.
I can say no, like that's not a problem. But it does come with guilt. And I'm very aware of how the no has affected the other person, even more so if they are taking it badly, and even more so if they've done it, if they've made it difficult for me to say no, or even S or whatever, right? Even if I said S, then also it comes with resentment. So maybe I do a little bit of resentment there. I have also only recently started using what you said. He, are you saying no to yourself by saying yes or no to whatever that is you're saying yes or no to? I'm not second guessing my yes or no. Like it's giving me an anchor to not feel bad about it, to not question my yes or no. So what it's also taking away is the overthinking and the inner dialogue of am I right, am I wrong, is this okay, did I hurt them? And what it's also putting nicely is it's putting whatever that extra overthinking aside, and even if there's any negative connotations that it comes because of the other person's expectations, is putting it back on them. Because next time when I'm interacting with them, I'm with a clean slate. There is no fight in my head ki oh was I mean, because that will reflect like if I know ki you are hurt and I've been overthinking it, when I meet you, I'm already meeting with so much in my head ki somewhere I know ki it's because of you. Versus today, when I say that yes or no and choose myself, it's difficult in that moment because after that you have to kind of sit with that decision, and that's new and alien. But you're doing it with yourself, so it's much easier to regulate. And then when I meet this person, it's peaceful. Like I am peaceful because there is no conflict that I'm going through, because I did not engage in that cycle of thoughts of oh did I hurt them, did I this, because I'm like I think the one clear sentence that kind of stuck with me is that when I realized that I've been saying these essays or no's because they're expected, I was abandoning myself time and again, and that is a strong way to put it. But it is also what exactly you're doing every time you do that. So
Yeah.
now because I've labeled that action as abandoning myself, it's become easier for me not to.
Instead of saying prioritizing yourself, putting
Yes.
your words, you are saying I'm not abandoning
Abandoning,
myself.
because prioritizing comes with so much shame, but abandoning comes with so much that's just not the right thing to do. It's easier for me to be like, there is no way this could be a wrong thing. In no world, in no alternate possible realities, abandoning oneself is okay. So that has made it very easy, and I think the more than the act of saying no or making the right decision in the moment or not, or the time that follows, what is very rewarding for me about making that right choice for yourself is how lighter my interactions have become and how much I'm not carrying. Like I don't have the weight of the choice. I've made a choice and I've left and it's done.
Correct.
So I think that's beautiful. So that's us, guys. We are very emotionally exhausted at this point because we've indulged in this conversation and went through the motions of it. So, yes, empathy is draining. Use it wisely. Don't go around giving it freely, but also use it. Um, and let us know if you watched the episode and you have something to share, because we are both personally very interested in this journey of finding nuances of empathy, how to do it better, how to do it more, how to do it sustainably, um, all things empathy. So I hope we were able to give you the empathy essentials. I hope we were able to solve or fill in some gaps or questions you've had for yourself.
Yeah, I think like I walk away with some new ideas, which will help me in this journey that I am on, and I hopefully I gave you some things to think about, and would love to hear from you guys.
And now we'll go to a Summer Rena show and
Drain it all
not
out.
be empathetic.